YouTube, what up? We are back after a little hiatus here. We are nearing towards the NFL season, the regular season. We don't have to keep pretending like the preseason's interesting or these other sports that go on during football season's off season. Nobody cares. All we want is our football back, and we are almost there, thank God. Those of you that have just clicked on this video for the first time, never seen me before, why should you care? Give me 30 seconds to tell you guys why before I disappear in your algorithm forever. This channel, I truly believe, is the best kept secret on YouTube for those people that simply want to do well with their NFL betting. I started this channel last year, and obviously it's very small as I make this video, but we hit at 63%. Okay, we hit our bet win rate was 63%, and I just want to know, like, who else has that high of a win rate on YouTube on any other platform? Good luck finding it, and it's 1 year. We'll see how we do this year, but I'm very confident that we have a system and a model that nobody else can compete with over a long period of time. And look, man, professional bettors strive to hit 55%. We hit 63% last year. As long as we can, hit 55 or above, I'm decently happy. I personally want to be over 60, but we'll see how it plays out in the long run. But in short, or in long, I should say, that went way longer than I wanted to. That's why you guys should stick around and hear me out for the rest of this video. I am going to use that, the same knowledge that I use to, make these NFL bets. I'm going to figure out and reverse engineer the best way to go about fantasy football as well. I don't know. I'll be honest with you guys. I am a little bit late to the research on fantasy because I haven't cared as much until the last, week or two. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should do some fantasy content. Maybe I should join some leagues because I'm so, focused on just betting actual games on NFL, whether it's a straight bet or a teaser, that I really never took fantasy football seriously. I did it back in the day when I was a kid, and I did really well, but and for whatever reason, I just stopped doing it. So I figured, you know what, let me kind of get my brain on again in that fantasy world, and I've been doing some research. I haven't finished doing every single position yet, but for this video, we're going to be diving into wide receivers, and we're going to jump into my computer just a sec. Before we do, guys, again, if this is your first time seeing me, hearing me, just like the video now, subscribe, give me a comment, whatever. Just give me something to give me a prayer in the YouTube algorithm. It's really hard when when you're just doing things independent, not coming from some network where you're automatically going to get a big following. Best kept secret on YouTube, guys. Good luck finding any better content, any higher win rate picks. It's just what I do. I just think I have a knack for this, and I'm obsessed with finding models that, frankly, a lot of people have no idea that they're out there. So it's what I do, and give me a subscribe if you have a second. All right, we're going to dive into my computer, go through some wide receiver rankings, and just my general thoughts on the wide receiver position for fantasy this year, and well, let's get into it. All right, guys, so I tried to hop in my computer and film a screen recording of kind of the list I broke down, but forgive me for the ghetto production here. The audio didn't come out ideal, and I don't want to fuck with this any longer. I am just going to look at my notes here on my computer as I talk to you guys and break it down. That way it's just out there, and I'll try my best to just link it in the descriptions, or I might just copy and paste it in the description so you can just see kind of the tier bracketed list, okay? And before I get into this, let me just preface it by saying you're going to hear me not mention a lot of big-time receivers that I'm targeting, and you're probably going to be wondering why I'm not going after these guys, or, is my list that bad that I just don't have these guys in it at all? No. If some of these big-name guys drop in your draft, sure, you can draft them, and if they go, maybe 12 spots too late or something crazy. But to reach at a lot of these guys that are going high off your board, I think is insane and just really risky. And if you kind of know how we do things on this channel, when we make our bets, the reason we do so well is because we're very selective and we don't like to get involved a lot with the unknown. We really like to know what's a for sure thing and what is a kind of a mystery. And if we're paying a high premium, we want a for sure thing. If it's a mystery, you can gamble on those mysteries later in the draft. But with your top picks, I personally do not recommend doing that, because if one of those flops, well, now you're in trouble. So for example, a big name everybody wants to target, CeeDee Lamb. I personally will be staying away from CeeDee Lamb at a high premium. Why? Mike McCarthy's been running the show there the past 2 years. Offensive guy. Now they have a new coach. Will he be great? Possibly. I don't know. But there's a chance he sucks. We haven't really seen him yet. So if he does suck, I don't want to be the one that, has that risk exposed to them if it results in CeeDee Lamb having lower production, okay? So I will be staying away from him. Also, George Pickens comes into town. CeeDee Lamb's never really had a real number 2 to share the workload with. Now George Pickens is there. He's a really good receiver. How much does he take away from CeeDee's production? I don't know. It's just going to be a pass for me on drafting CeeDee Lamb at around the spot he's gone. Next guy we'll look at is Malik Neighbors. Yes, he had a really good rookie year, but with a dysfunctional organization, I'm just not there yet to trust the Giants to consistently be able to give him or anybody the numbers of production they need. I get it, that the energy seems better, the aura, whatever you want to call it. I need some data, though. I'm not just going to go off the energy, the aura, the feel of it. I need some data behind it, and I just don't trust. I need to see the Giants give this guy at least 2 years in a row of consistency before I just jump on him after year one. A lot of his stuff last year was in garbage time. There's just a lot of question marks there for me with this Giants organization and their weird quarterback situation as well. I'm good. I don't want to reach for him in my draft. I'll pass. This guy, I know he's been super consistent. It bums me out that it's not somebody that I'm going to be targeting. Is Amon-Ra St. Brown. 2 great years back-to-back, very consistent. But there's a big question mark for me with Detroit this year because the guy who's kind of been orchestrating their high production on offense is gone. He's in Chicago now, Ben Johnson, and we just don't know if the Lions are going to drop multiple steps. Is it going to be the same? We just don't know. I doubt it's going to be better. I think best case scenario it's the same, but I think it's likely that it's probably a little worse without Ben Johnson there, and I don't know how worse it'll be, but not enough for me to gamble and take him at a high premium. I'll just let everybody else take him. Another guy that's going high is Nico Collins, and I really like Nico Collins as a player, but CJ Stroud has had the same OC for the past 2 years, and now he's gone. So again, it's another question mark. What's it going to look like? I really haven't been that impressed with CJ Stroud as compared to what the average fan has thought of him. I think he's benefited a lot from a really good defense, but I think he's a little bit overrated. Plus, Joe Mixon's not there. They're going to be one-dimensional. Is Nick Chubb even healthy enough to be serviceable? Is it going to be too one-dimensional? I don't know. Is he not? He might not get as many clean looks off play action without Joe Mixon back there. Just a little bit too money for me for Houston to trust taking Nico Collins at a high premium. The last guy, there's a lot of guys that I'm avoiding, guys, but I'm just trying to give you guys a little breakdown of why I'm avoiding certain players. And if you hear me not talk about guys, that means they're in this category. I just can't go through the whole list. There's too many to go through. Last one I'll give you guys a breakdown on is Brian Thomas Jr. Great rookie year. Trevor Lawrence's health was kind of all over the place. But now they have a whole new unit in there with Liam Cohen, which could be a good thing. He did really well for Baker Mayfield in that system. But there's another question mark, and that's the fact that they just drafted Travis Hunter with the 2nd overall pick. Seems like he's going to get a lot of offensive reps. How much is that going to cut into Brian Thomas's production? Again, I don't know. And if I have to pay a crazy premium, crazy high in the draft to get Brian Thomas, I'm not going to risk it in case Travis Hunter ends up being the star of the show. I'm good. I'll pass. I'll let somebody else take him. All right, enough doom and gloom. Let's get into the guys that I like, the guys that I'm targeting. Some of these guys will just be in this tier, and doesn't necessarily mean, this is a guy I'm expecting to get. A lot of times there's guys in tiers, and I'm looking at the guy with the most value where I'm like, these guys I have in the same tier, but this guy's getting drafted way later than everybody else. So you can kind of play that game of, I'm going to cheat a little bit at this position because I know later on I can grab somebody from this tier that shouldn't be available this late, but is, at least according to my data. And to start this off, it's not going to be that interesting. Tier, and guys, the way I do this is I do tier 0, tier 0.5, tier 1, tier 1.5, tier 2. Just how I do it. It's a little bit more precise than going 1, 2, 3, 4, in my opinion. It's important to know how I'm going to explain this. So anyways, tier 0, we have Ja'Marr Chase. Obviously, he's probably going to be the number one guy off the board in most drafts. I don't need to spend much time on this. Just look at his numbers from last year. He's still got Joe Burrow. He's a monster. Not much more needs to be said. Oh, and they have a horrible defense, which makes it so Joe Burrow has to keep throwing the ball all game. Just a lot to like there. Yeah, don't overcomplicate it. He is in his own tier, tier 0 wide receiver of this draft. Okay, then we have tier 0.5. Here's where things get a little bit interesting. So Puka Nacua, love him, absolute beast. And we know what we're getting. We're getting Matty Stafford, we're getting Sean McVay, and we're getting Puka Nacua force-fed the most, the ball all game. We know we're getting there, but he's going high. So, he's a coin flip whether or not, you'd probably be able to land him in your draft because there's not much value on him. He's going very high. But the other guy I have in this 0.5 tier that is going to be draftable, should be like 99% draftable for value because he's going way later than I think he should be going, is Tyreek Hill. People are totally forgetting how insanely good this guy's numbers were the 2023 season. Last year, he was dealing with an injury. His health was on and off, so he missed a lot of time with Tua last year. Last year just wasn't a great year for injury reasons. Yeah, they weren't perfect when they're on the field, but there was a lot going on, coming back from injuries and all that stuff. We can't just totally throw out that 2023 season out the window. They still have the same head coach, even though I think he's a goofball and a weirdo. They still have that same guy that produced that great year for them. And we all have eyes. We know how much of a freak Tyreek Hill is. If you've watched him literally any season, when he gets going, there's nobody faster. Nobody can catch him. And we just know there's so much upside there. Plus, it's not just a total gamble. We've seen what they've done once before. And I think the upside is just too high there that if everybody's healthy, everybody's clicking, you could possibly be getting the best receiver in the draft. And not even having to pay a first and probably not even a second round price for him. You would probably get him in, late second, early third round, something like that. So a lot of upside there, man, and he is one of the biggest steals in the draft, in my opinion. Next, we have the wide receiver 1.5 tier. I got 6 guys in this tier here. We're going to start with Davante Adams, Ladd McConkey, and Devontae Smith. I'll be honest, just the mocks I've been doing, Ladd McConkey's been going pretty high, at least in the ones I've been doing. I doubt you're going to be able to get him at a steal because you're going to have to pay high for him, so I probably just wouldn't do it. But Davante Adams, I've gotten a decent amount of times, and Devontae Smith always seems to be there. So, those are your 2 safe ones. I got 3 more guys in this tier I'll get to in a second, but just for those first ones, you probably can get Davante Adams, who I really like. And let me address something real quick because you're probably like, well, I thought you didn't like the unknown. Davante Adams, this one's a little bit different. I trust Stafford. I trust McVay because they've had Cooper Kupp dealing with health issues, but in that role that Cooper's had, I'm just expecting Devontae to kind of absorb that production. So there's kind of a blueprint already there for me. Plus Devontae, we already know what he is, what he kind of player he is in his career. This is not just some random guy that we're hoping is going to be the number 2 receiver. No, this is going to be the number 2 receiver, and he's probably very high probability that he's going to absorb Cooper Kupp's production. So to me, that's why he's in this tier. I still view him as a safe play. And the other 3 guys I have in this tier are Khalil Shakir, Jauan Jennings, and Terry McLaurin. And look, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm putting it out there. I think these are going to be your 2 biggest steals of the draft is Shakir and Jauan Jennings. They're in the same tier as a lot of these guys that I have in it, but they're going like 50+ draft picks later. So I do think if you miss out early on at wide receiver, these are 2 guys that you could have as your 2 or 3, or maybe your 3 and 4, depending on how you want to play it and what positions you're going to prioritize. But these are just 2 guys that are in high-powered offenses that get a good amount of volume that just aren't being priced appropriately according to the data that I've ran. All right, next we got our wide receiver 2 tier guys. This list has 4 players. Only one of these players I think has significant value. So we got Courtland Sutton, Jaylen Waddle, and Zay Flowers. I probably won't be drafting any of those 3 guys. The guy I will be looking to possibly draft is Jordan Addison. I put him in this tier, but because of all the off-the-field stuff, the suspension, his draft stock has really fallen. But I think if you're getting him, with the idea that he's going to be a backup receiver that could potentially turn into a starter, and you don't need him for the first 4 weeks, who cares? He's been practicing this whole camp, and he's probably by now JJ's number 2 favorite target. And the wide receiver, the wide receivers for the Vikings just aren't looking promising. Rondale Moore out for the year. They're trying to scramble something up for Adam Thielen. I think this guy can definitely be the number 2 when he comes back. And for how far he is falling in these drafts, I do think he's very undervalued right now. All right, guys, in tier wide receiver 2.5, we have 3 guys. Only one of them we like for some value. We got Xavier Worthy, Marvin Harrison Jr., and the guy that we like that is a super sleeper is Keenan Allen. I think there's big value in this guy. He is going so late in drafts. You can get him late. And here's the thing, guys. Everybody's afraid of him because he's older now. I think he lost a step, and he might have. But look at 2023 data. Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert were doing ridiculous numbers. Literally just go back, look at that season. It's kind of similar to the point I made with Tua and Tyreek Hill from that season. We can't just overlook it. They're back. The band's back together. I get it. Lad McConkey's there now. He's going to be the number 1. But I would not be shocked if Keenan Allen turns into the security blanket on key situations for Justin Herbert, and he has a surprisingly decent year. It might not be as crazy as it was in 2023, but for how far he's falling in drafts, I wouldn't be shocked if he actually becomes an asset for a lot of people. So those are all my main sleepers, guys. I'll throw you a few more here, but these aren't ones I feel as good about. These are just flyers. If you're super deep in your draft and you're like, okay, I don't want to draft a safe guy that's going to give me, 500 yards on the season. I want to draft a guy that might be able to turn into something bigger, 750, 1,000 yards, whatever. You're just hoping one of these guys hits. This is kind of that tier. So I'll give you 3 rookie flyers: Travis Hunter, Matthew Golden, and Jayden Wiggins. Travis Hunter, obviously, going into a Liam Cohen system that's had success in the past. High draft pick. You think a lot of volume is going there. Matthew Golden, that's weird. The Packers already have a lot of young receivers, but they must really like him, so maybe he's somebody they're going to try to incorporate in. And Jayden Wiggins, that's a big one for Houston because Tank Dell got injured, so somebody's going to have to fill that role. So, again, guys, I probably won't draft any of these guys personally, but if the opportunity presents itself and it's, I have the opportunity to take a shot and there's nothing really else that I like on the board, these are the kind of guys I would look for. And the last 2 are guys that I would say were a little bit disappointing last year, but they were drafted with high upside and they're in high production offenses. That would be Ricky Pearsall. He had a pretty good excuse last year. The guy got shot, so my bad if he's not Randy Moss year 1. And then Keon Coleman, who I'm not a huge fan of, didn't have great production last year, but he was drafted high, and you would think with that draft pick, they are expecting him to start to pick it up here and probably incorporate him more into the game plan. So those are 2 guys that had not great, rookie years that could, since they're in good systems, good coaches, good quarterbacks, all that stuff, that one of those 2 guys could pop this year, but I don't know. Again, I personally, the Keenan Allen and up tiers are primarily what I'm focused on. I'm just saying if you're late in your draft, you want to buy a lottery ticket on one of these flyers, these are the 5 guys I would look for. But yeah, guys, that's it for the tiers we had here. Hope you like this. Obviously, it's not a traditional breakdown, 1 through 100. Here's my receivers. This is more of an overall, here's the tiers, here's what to look for. It's just a lot more efficient to break it out that way. It would take forever. I've went through every single player, so I hope you understand. And conceptually, I hope all this made sense to you guys. And that's why we're, I believe we're the best at what we do, because when we bet NFL games, we look at everything from every angle possible, and we try to do everything database. We try not to, gamble on situations we don't know too much about. We like to bet on sure things. And that's kind of what I try to incorporate here with these fantasy rankings. So I hope it made sense to you guys. And here's the deal, guys. Quite frankly, I got into fantasy too late this year. I didn't think I was even going to do it at all. So now that I know that I do like it and it's something I'd probably want to pursue in the future, I will prepare more ahead of time. That way I can get all the positions out there and give you guys also an overall draft strategy depending on what spot in the draft you are, what kind of league it is, etc., etc. That way you're better overall prepared. But I just want to throw one fantasy video out there this year. I'm not going to get to the other positions. I'm sorry. There's just not enough time. My draft's in a couple days. So it is what it is. I just wanted to get something out there just because I didn't do anything fantasy last year. So, I'm like, you know what? Let me do a receiver breakdown for everybody. I'm doing the other positions for myself, but I don't have enough time to make videos about them and do full breakdowns. And next year I will, if it's something I want to do, I'll prepare better to have it all laid out more organized. That way we're not cramming the last week, last second to get everything done. So just want to give you guys a heads up on that. But if you overall, you got value out of the video, you like the way I break things down, you're going to love what I have for the NFL season. That's what we do week in and week out with actual betting, not just fantasy. Fantasy is just a side thing here. But betting, teasers, all that good stuff. We hit it 63% last year. Good luck finding anybody else that hit that high. We hope to continue that momentum this year. So never having any guarantees, but I post everything for free here on my YouTube and my Twitter at Karis Football. Go check me out there. I actually post everything there first, so that's where you really want to be. But guys, it would help me out a lot. Obviously, I'm just some nobody independent creator doing this, not part of any network that can blow my channel up in 2 seconds. So if you made it this far, man, and obviously you got something out of it, please just like the video, subscribe, give me something to give me a prayer in the algorithm to slowly grow this thing, so it could be a real thing for me to, it could be worth it for me to continue to post content on this channel. So all right, that's it, guys. Hope you have a good fantasy draft, and we're almost there at NFL. We're almost at the start of the NFL season where we can finally fire off some bets. So stay posted. I will see you guys soon. All right, peace.